Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Bad mistake. Not that it's such thing as a good mistake, but bad mistake. And if you remember yesterday, I think the day before, the Azov Battalion Commanders that fought in Azovstal in Mariupol, that were freed, they were swapped. They got in Istanbul, stayed over there, and then Erdogan gave them to Zelensky, and Zelensky took them home. They arrived in Ukraine yesterday. And there's a little problem. Those guys supposedly, according to Russians, were supposed to stay in Istanbul, in Turkey, until the war ended. That's how the understanding was. But the Russians again got fucked because they naively believed those guys. Well, that's at least what the Russians claim. I don't see a reason why they would lie, because otherwise those Azovstal commanders would have been sent to Ukraine the next day they arrived in Istanbul. So something switched over there in Ankara and Mr. Erdogan's little court, and we'll find out with time. Today Erdogan just said that he has nothing against Sweden joining NATO. That's another thing that I don't know, I'm waiting. I wonder what Erdogan got in exchange. A promise to join the European Union, that's what he wanted. Now, back to it seems like that's what he wanted. Back to this thing with the Azov Battalion Commanders. They claim and they vow to return on the battlefield. So not only that they were sent from Turkey into Ukraine, and according to the Russians violating the understanding, now they want to return to the front. Well, I tell you what's going to happen when they return to the front if they get captured. Do you know what's going to happen? Do you think that the Russians will swap them again? And I'm not talking about the idiots who made the decision to swap them in the first place. I will tell you about that one in a second. Let's read this article here. This comes from CNN, the most trusted probably in the news. Azovstal leaders freed in prisoner swap promised to return to the battlefield in Ukraine. Okay, so July 9th, 2023. Ukrainian commanders who were captured by Russia after leading the defense of Mariupol from the Azov steel plant last year have vowed to return to the battlefield following the return to Saturday evening. No, so not Sunday, Saturday evening. The men are among the highest profile fighters to have fallen into Russian hands since the start of the war. They announced their intentions at a news conference held shortly after their arrival in Ukraine's western city of Lvov, accompanied by President Zelensky. They have been flown back from Turkey, where they had been held since September under an agreement reached with Russia. An agreement was in the same plane that carried Zelensky back from the meeting with Erdogan. Under the terms of their transfer 10 months ago, Turkey had agreed the men would not be handed over to Ukraine until the war's end. So even CNN reports this. It was not immediately clear why Erdogan had apparently violated the agreement with Moscow. I'm surprised these guys, they just want to get Turkey and Russia in trouble. So this is Okay, so the point. Let's see. First, these Azovstal commanders, the Russians labeled as Nazis. That's what they label. They are commanders. Not, rank and file, over there. They're commanders. So when you get them and you claim that they are Nazis, what do you do with them? You put them on trial, correct? I don't know. You said you're gonna get rid. That was one of the 4 Russian reasons why they say they invaded or they entered in Ukraine. One was to get rid of the Nazi elements in denazify Ukraine. That's what he said. So you captured some big fish, right? The commanders of the Azov Battalion, which according to even with the Western guys until the 24th of February 2022, they were called Nazis, Azov Battalion. Somehow after that, these guys stopped using that And they started calling it nationalist faction and all that. They switched the terms, not the condition. You know, like you can call right now someone fat, you just say you're big boned. The condition is the same. You just have to use euphemisms so the person doesn't change his or her condition, but feels better. Hey, I'm the same, but I feel better. My health is perfect. Anyway, so they changed just the term. So if the Russians captured the Azov Battalion's commanders, that they call Nazis, do you swap them? Look what happened. Do you think I didn't know that? So they swapped them naively. They didn't put them on trial, and they didn't get rid of the Nazis. I would have kept them over there for the duration of the fight. No, but you have to feed them, you have to take care of them, and so on. For people, you know, or 7 or whatever, how many they released, it wouldn't have been a big burden for the Russians. But nevertheless, they naively exchanged, or maybe they exchanged because they need someone else. It's another stupid thing. I mean, if you have a rapist, you just exchange rapists and get back into, outside in the society. No, you put him on trial if you think that person did something bad. Okay, they swapped him, made an understanding. Stupid Russians, they got fooled again, it seems like. They got swapped, they went to Istanbul, now they're back in Ukraine, and they will back on the front line. I don't think the Russians care if they're back on the front line, because if they failed one time, they might fail the second time. Obviously, they were captured. That means they didn't do something right somewhere. It was a failure. We achieved. You achieved what? You would have just been shot like rats as soon as you came with your arms up. So you didn't achieve anything. So anyway, we achieved that. Or whatever. I'm glad you are okay. But if you are Nazi, why do you release them? You swap them. And now they're going to go and fight again. Now, fighters in Russia, commanders in Russia, regular fighters, they probably hear about this. What do you think they will say? If those guys, I will capture them again, do you think that they're going to do the same thing they did the first time? I have doubt they will do the same thing. Unfortunately, I think they would commit a war crime that nobody will find out, or they will justify it with, hey, they attacked us, so we had to defend ourselves. There's just a gut feeling, because those people over there, if they're informed of what happened, they say, what? So they were freed and now they fight again? So they catch them again and release, catch and release, like you go fishing? I hope the worst stops before anything happens to anybody over there. But I think that the Russians, if they capture them again, alive, obviously, these guys might not be given the same opportunity the second time. I don't think they will even be kept. But that's my gut feeling. I hope that doesn't happen. But, it's like you forgive someone for something that you perceive as being done bad to you, and then that person does it again. I mean, what are they going to forgive the person again and again and again? I mean, you can do that. But if that one wants to kill you the first time and he is not successful, and now he's trying again, are you going to again release him and give him another try to kill you? Do you think that if they capture you, will treat you the same way? After all, those guys over there to kill one another, are not over there to say, hello, how are you? I'm Ukrainian. Hello, how are you? I'm a Russian. Okay, let's drink something. Cheers. No, that's not. They go on the front to kill the Russians. They're not going back to the front to play soccer or football, Ukraine versus Russia. Well, whatever, man. We are the makers of our own destiny. So, good luck to you guys. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.